Okay, guys, today we're talking about macros on the carnivore diet. And I thought that I would real quick show you how I make my most often consumed meal, which is burger patties. So I actually weigh my meat, and this isn't for why you would think, like to make sure that I am not eating too much. It's actually to make sure that I am eating enough, because it's hard to just guesstimate, and I only eat 3 times a day, and I want to make sure that I'm actually getting enough food. And so lots of trial and error on my part, but I know that I can eat about a half a pound of meat at a time. So I weigh that to make sure that I do get a half a pound and not get less than that. And then I make my burger patty. I don't usually make it one-handed, but I'm holding the phone with this hand. I don't really know how a lot of people do their recordings. They probably have handy dandy things or whatever, but here's how I'm doing it. And I'm not the best housekeeper either, so I'm trying not to show you my whole kitchen. Maybe being a YouTuber will help me be a better housekeeper, and I'll start cleaning up better for you guys. Okay, so I just get it pretty flat, and I'll be adding some salt and pepper. Not pepper, just salt. I don't know why I say that. I guess because that's what chefs say, right? All right, turn on the stove real quick. I use a cast iron skillet all day every day. This is this is all I need to eat. Butter, a scale, a thing, some salt, a spatula, and a cast iron skillet. I'm telling you, this is what I make 99% of my meals on right here. All right, so I'm gonna unstick it and grab my Redmond's real salt. No link in the description below. Maybe one day I'll have some affiliates and have a link. So I salt pretty heavily on things too. I don't get salt from other food sources because I don't eat anything boxed or whatever. So I actually need more salt, and this real salt that has other minerals in it, because it's real. It hasn't been bleached or whatever they do with it at the factories. So it has a lot of the minerals that I need. And now I put it on the pan and we'll let it cook up. All right, I think it's time to flip it again. Yeah, I like the brown crusties on it. I actually don't mind it being a little bit medium, but I do like the crusties on the outside. They're yummy. All right, I think I'm about ready to call this burger patty done. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, so I'm gonna put her on my plate here. Oh, turn the fire off. And butter. Let's see, I have about 4 tablespoons in there, and I want to eat 2 tablespoons with my dinner. Yeah, this is evening time right now, guys, in case you didn't know. And this is a very typical dinner for me. A half a pound of meat and 2 tablespoons of butter. In the mornings, I'll have a half a pound of meat with 4 tablespoons of butter. And then at lunchtime, I'll have a half a pound of meat with 2 tablespoons of butter. To where pretty much every day I eat 1.5 pounds of meat and 1 whole stick of butter. So let's talk more about that. All right, I have finished my hamburger patty. It was delicious. And now I'm back so we can talk more about macros on the carnivore diet. So when I was first starting the carnivore diet, well, at first I was just eating meat. But the more YouTube videos I watched, the more I was wondering, how I should be doing this, if I'm doing it right, all those questions you might be having too. And I started watching a lot about the different macros, the high fat, moderate protein, the high protein, moderate fat, whatever, all the different options and thoughts. And I honestly drove myself insane trying to figure out my macros. I don't know if any of you can relate to that, where you're like in your own mind, you're killing yourself. And I was doing that. I'm sure I'm not the only one. At one point, I had even downloaded an app called Chronometer to track how much I was eating. And, you know, carnivore, all of the people talk about how it's supposed to like give you food freedom. And having an app tracking all my food, obsessing all day about how many this and that I was eating, did not help me have freedom from food. So eventually I did get rid of that app. I brought it back just today to download what I'm eating just to see what I was at. I'm not keeping it. I'm not tracking, but I did that for you guys so that I could see actually what macros I am eating with my 3 burger patties and what do you call it? A stick of butter a day. So anyways, I did re-download that, but I will caution you, and I don't know if it will work for me to caution you because I know that I still had to go through that process, even though some of the people on YouTube that I listened to said, you know, don't worry about it, don't track it, just eat high-fat meat and you should be fine. But I still was obsessed. So you may still be obsessed for a while, but maybe this video will give you some different thinking to move past that, or just to help you get through that phase. So what a lot of the people on YouTube recommend for macros is either a 70-30 diet or an 80-20 diet. What those numbers are is for 70-30, 70% of your calories should come from fat and 30% should come from protein. An 80-20 diet would be 80% of your calories coming from fat and 20% of your calories coming from protein. Now, fat is more calorie dense than protein, so that is not the grams of protein and fat ratio. Your grams of fat will be less, that number will be smaller than your grams of protein number, but the percent of calories will still be higher. So don't confuse the grams and the calories, or you'll be eating probably way too much fat. Try to get in 80% of your grams from fat and 20% from protein. That would be bad. Anyway, so it's calories we're talking about. And in any app, you can figure out, you know, how many calories for each gram of fat. I think it's 9 and 4 for protein. But anyways, the apps will tell you that. So let's just focus on the amount of fat versus the amount of protein versus the amount of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates can be 0. Definitely 0. There is some carbs and cheese and stuff. So if you end up getting a few of your calories from carbs, it's not the end of the world. But ideally, you don't need any carbohydrates to live or thrive, and that number can be 0. For me, I have autoimmune issues and hormone issues, and a lot of the people on the internet that I watch talking about carnivore, some of who are doctors, some of who are just regular people like you and me, say that the 80-20, so 80% of your calories from fat and 20% from protein, that diet plan is really helpful for autoimmune conditions, hormone conditions, and even Dr. Oh, I can't think of her name. She's a lady. She, I'll put it up on the screen when I figure out her name. But she talks about 80-20 being really good for cognitive stuff like Alzheimer's and brain fog and things like that. So maybe I should be eating a higher fat to protein ratio so I could remember her name. Anyways, so I decided that I was going to aim for 80-20 whenever I was trying it on the chronometer. And like I said, it was just taking my peace away from me to try and mess with those numbers all day and worry about whether I was gaining or losing weight on those type of numbers. And so I kind of just quit that. But I plugged in my 1/2 pound of hamburger meat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and my 4 tablespoons of fat at breakfast and 2 tablespoons at lunch and 2 tablespoons at dinner, which is literally what I eat about every single day. So with that diet plan, I plugged in my numbers to chronometer, and guess what, guys? I'm eating 81% of my calories from fat and 19% from protein. I was shocked at how close I was without even trying, and pretty surprised too. So there are the numbers that I live by. You will find so much information if you look up about it. I mean, some people say that even up to 2 sticks of butter a day for hormone issues, like when you're in menopause, that is helpful. I don't think I would be able to eat enough protein if I did that. And plus, it doesn't sound good to eat 2 sticks of butter a day to me.
And also, your fat doesn't have to come from butter. Just really fatty meat ups the fat intake. You can add other types of fat like trimmings from ribeye. I know that Kelly Hogan does that a lot because she doesn't just love to eat butter. She's found a butcher shop that will sell her just the ribeye trimmings, and that is a delicious source of fat. Anyway, so you can mix it up however you like. You can count it or not count it. I do think that 80-20 has worked well for me and my body, and it could work for you too. All right, guys, I hope you found this helpful. Let me know down in the comments what your macros are, if you already know what they are, and how you're feeling on them. All right, I'll talk to you later.